some folks, and these, by the way, these Q&A questions are part of questions that were sent in by many families. We realized that there were some patterns in the questions, so we decided to take some of those and then place them here so that you could hear from us directly. If your young professional has busing as part of their IEP, yes, we have that in high school too. However, if you have questions or concerns about the IEP itself, you're going to want to check in with AP Cohn. AP Cohn is in the library, and her session begins, I believe, at 1 o'clock, right? As an aside, if it's not on the IEP, the young professional doesn't get the service. And I'm here to tell everyone, my background is as a special education teacher, a history teacher, and a media arts communication teacher, with special education first. If you are coming from a private school or a charter school, we don't get those copies of your IEP. So if you have an IEP, a 504, or an IESP, you need to send that to our school in order for us to make sure that you get the services that you're entitled to, okay? Next up, are there gluten-free options? Yes. That was an easy question. But we are looking to expand our lunch options into next year. We want to create a wider variety of menu items because if you look at our school survey, I'm not going to lie, our current young professionals have pretty strong feelings about the quality of our school foods. Got it, I get it. We also want to work with some local farms to bring in more fresh produce as part of our widening of cafeteria options, and we're going to be engaging in an initiative with the Office of School Foods to become kind of a pilot school for recipes that they think will be successful across the city. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, if a student can't attend Summer Bridge on the 28th, 29th, and 30th, thank you for the correction, Ms. Montero, what are their options for the placement test? So, here's what we're doing. I believe it's the second day of Summer Bridge. We're giving a math diagnostic exam. It's not going to take that long, but it's super important. Before I continue on, quick show of hands, who loves math? Now, I want to state something super important. I get it. It doesn't hurt my feelings, but I get it. So I am the grandson of a professional mathematician. On Sundays, in the mornings, my grandpa, also knew Max, would sit me down before I had to go to Japanese school and say, you're not allowed to leave until you complete these problems. I was not a big fan of that. I am a visual artist. I love the prosaic language and flower and poetry. And yet, I understood that there was an importance in what he was trying to teach me. You see, math is something that is kind of magical, which sounds like probably what you've heard from other math teachers and administrators. The world right now is a very scary place, can we agree? Yeah, it's a confusing place. And as our young professionals join A&D, I think they're trying to make sense of a world that feels like they're getting a lot of misinformation. They're getting a lot of people, organizations, corporations, trying to push them in a certain direction. They don't know what's true or not anymore. And so we have to teach you how to be able to tell what's true. But let me bring you back to math. What's 1 plus 1? That was fast. I'm watching. 1 plus 1 is 2. And what's nice is that 1 plus 1 is 2, whether you agree with it or not. Mathematics is the only truism in the universe. Everything else is subjective. Everything else is subject to human interpretation. But math has a correct answer. And isn't it so nice to know that there are things in this world that have a correct answer? And that those same things that have a correct answer actually govern almost everything that we do. If you understand math, you understand how the world works. And if you understand math, you can apply it to each and every artistic discipline that you have. So math is actually the most essential. And, last thing I will say, you've got to give your math teacher some love. I want you to think about this. Which other job in a high school, any school, do people walk into your room and they're already afraid of what you're going to teach them? Our entire country, not just our design, forget our design, our whole country, our city has a fear of math. Somewhere along the line, we were all told that math is not fun. And I am here to tell you that not only can math be incredible, right, but it is the most core, essential learning that we can engage in. It will help with everything else. Because if you understand math, you understand systems. And you're all part of systems already. And the only way to make systems better is to have the eye for mathematics that governs those systems, whether it's language, whether it's history, whether it's sciences, or the arts. Okay? That's my math pitch. Let me step back for a second. So if you can't make the math diagnostic exam, wow, what a corollary. If you can't make the math diagnostic exam, we're going to reschedule for anyone who missed during the first week of September before classes begin. But we want to make sure that we get accurate tests so that we know how to program them appropriately. Okay? That's really important. And we also will know what extra supports you need going into your first marking period. All right? Next up, we just kind of talked about that. Moving on. If you don't have a New York Schools account email address, Ms. Johnson, our parent coordinator, is up on the 5th floor right now at the Wellness Fair. She can help you out with that. Same thing for NYC student emails. If you did not take algebra in middle school, okay, we do have different levels of math, but you will likely be taking math at algebra in your first year at A&D. We do have different levels of algebra. Some are a single-year course, maybe 2 semesters. Others are a 4-semester or 2-year-long course to make sure that you have the fundamentals so that you can pass the Regents. And by the way, if you've been paying attention to New York State law, the Regents requirements and the graduation requirements may be changing by the time that you graduate. Okay? We are going to make sure that you are updated, and Ms. Montero will as well. The most fun job in the world is dealing with changing laws and getting you ready for the next step. Okay? Next up, the bell schedule on the website says 8:20, but hold on a second. The FAQ says it starts at 8. What's going on? So our website reflects this year. This year we are a single session school, periods 1 through 8. This year, classes start at 8:20 and they end at 2:40. Next year, we are moving to multi-session. That means that there's going to be an early schedule and a late schedule. Okay? Here's the catch. The early schedule will start at 8 o'clock, and it'll end around 2:45. The late schedule will start at 8:55, and then go until 3:35. Now, if you're in grades 9 and 10, it is more likely that you will be in the early schedule, starting at 8, and then ending at 2:45, okay? The reason why we're doing this is because there's a law that says we have to make our classes smaller. So next year, we're putting less students in every class. And we're not going to reduce the total number of students in the school. So if there's less students in every class, then there have to be more classes. And with more classes means we have to shift our schedule. Okay? So that's taking place here. Folks are asking about a supply list, right? We are going to have a list of recommended supplies. We are also going to give you a 9th grade art kit so that you can get started with materials that we provide you. Okay? And that's in addition to the tote bag you'll be receiving upstairs with your summer reading and your summer assignment. Side note, let them think about the bag. I designed it. Okay. He doesn't just principle. And the next piece is policy regarding food in classrooms. That's super easy. No. Now, we only have food in the cafeteria, and that's because we want to respect our community. There's a lot of folks who have different allergies, and we don't want to bring food outside that may trigger an anaphylactic shock. Bad news, right? So food is only in the cafeteria. Next up is una pregunta en español. Lo siento para solamente un poquito de español y let's go. Let's try it out. Si un alumno sufre de acoso, ¿qué medidas disciplinarias o son que tan serios se toman el asunto? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried my best. Here's what it means for those of you who need auto interpretation. That families are curious about how we handle discipline at our Center if there's a behavioral infraction. I want to tell you right now, we are a public school, we are not a prison. Right? So we don't treat our young professionals like this is a carceral or prison system. But every now and then, some of our young professionals do things that are not professional. And when they do, there needs to be a consequence in place. Remember before I said that whole kindness thing, right? The number one thing we can do to avoid any problems is by treating each other with kindness and treating ourselves with kindness. That's so important. And just know that I have a lot of flexibility as the principal of this school to determine what discipline will be put in place. The key is this. I don't think any punishment should exist unless there is a growth that comes from it. Does that make sense? Like, if you just suspend people, what are we doing? What message does that send? The more important thing is, what are we doing next in order to grow from a mistake that took place? how are we making the community whole again if something has hurt the community? And so my perspective on discipline is that we do treat it seriously. We want to make sure that everyone's safe, first and foremost. But also, when it comes to behavioral infractions, that those are treated on a case-by-case basis. Okay? We're almost done with this. You folks are doing fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're a 10th grade transfer, how can you get AP classes? The short of it is we need to see your transcript. We'll take a look at your transcript from the school that sent you. If it's charter or private, you have to send that transcript in to Ms. Montero, okay? If you got in for animation or graphic design or a certain major as a transfer student, would you be able to change your major from one to another as a 10th grader? Every single one of our 9th grade students is going to take 2 art classes. You heard it before from Ms. Montero. You're going to take Foundations, which is traditional, and you're going to take Computer Tech, which is going to get you a Photoshop certification as long as you stay with it by the end of your 9th grade year. As you're closing out 9th grade, you will then declare your major, okay? The first 6 weeks of 10th grade are the only time that we do any major changes. And the reason is, in order to earn what's called the CTE Commencement Credential, which is like an advanced diploma, you need to stay in a major for the vast majority of 3 years, okay? So we usually get perfect fits for what everybody wants in 10th grade. Occasionally there's some disagreement, and then we work that out in the first few weeks. But after that, you're in the major. Make sense? Cool. I see lots of nodding heads. I love that. Is our CTE program like a university program? So I want to stress that you're in high school now. This is not a college. And yet, we have relationships with many universities. So much so that almost every one of our art majors has an articulation with the university, so that when you pass classes in 12th grade, you get automatic college credit if you enroll at certain schools. You may have heard it before from Mr. V and Dr. Hafer. We are expanding the number of AP classes that we offer. We're moving from 13 to 14 into next year, and actually the year after that, we have plans for even more. We also have 4 different courses that are dual enrolled with Monroe College. So the odds of you graduating high school with many college credits is high, as long as you stay with it and then enroll in those advanced classes as well. A quick question, and to close that question out, right, it's this. We want everyone here to be prepared for what comes next. University, professional, or full independence. But I want to be clear that our goal at A&D is to give you choices so that you can get into the best art schools, and then you can be advanced in those art schools, and then you can already be ahead of the competition. We're not a replacement for college, although a lot of people feel that way, because they graduate from A&D so advanced. Okay? Last question here. I want to understand how 504s are handled at the school. If you receive accommodations from a 504, just know you have to reapply, right, like every year. And so the point person for 504s is AP Cohn, who is in the library. You can ask any questions you want about that process to her. She's our lead 504 coordinator, and that is at 1 o'clock. And then as far as the college board, this is a question about like kind of the quality of what we're doing in our ELA classes. So just so that everybody knows, when Mr. V asks you if you'd like to read, that's because we're a school that emphasizes as much as possible whole text when we can, right? A lot of schools will say, hey, read this tiny little excerpt, and you're just going to take a look at this and learn how to read a paragraph, and that's your skill. We want to emphasize that reading whole text is actually really key. When we talk about reading Shakespeare, you're going to be reading the entirety of Shakespearean works and learning Old English in the right way. When we talk about reading your summer reading, like The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Night, right? Whole text, and we're going to be using that as a lens for how we analyze, how we take apart the language and all of its rhetorical depth. So, just know that that's important to us. Okay. Whew. I know you may have more questions.